Have you ever walked into a room and forgotten why you went there? Or struggled to find the right word mid-sentence? Maybe you've noticed your memory isn't quite as sharp as it used to be, and you catch yourself wondering quietly, is this normal? Or is something wrong? For many adults over 50, that single thought sparks fear. Fear of dementia, fear of losing independence, fear of watching the mind slowly slip away. But what if I told you that for millions of people, those same symptoms have nothing to do with Alzheimer's or aging at all? What if instead they come from something far simpler? A hidden vitamin deficiency that mimics memory loss so closely that even doctors can mistake it for dementia. And the most important part, it's completely reversible. In this video, we're going to uncover the overlooked nutrient that fuels your brain, protects your nerves, and keeps your mind sharp for decades. You'll learn the early warning signs that often get ignored, the real science behind this deficiency, and the steps doctors recommend to correct it, safely, naturally, and permanently. Before we begin, if you want to stay informed about evidence-based ways to protect your health after 50, hit that like button now, so this message reaches more people who need it. Let's start with a true story. Clara, 68, had always been sharp, a retired teacher who loved crossword puzzles and volunteering at her library. But over the course of a year, something began to change. She started losing her train of thought. She'd forget appointments, repeat questions, and misplace things she'd just set down. Her husband noticed she'd sometimes pause mid-sentence, confused about what she was saying. They feared the worst. Her doctor ran tests for early Alzheimer's. The results were concerning, but not definitive. So they ordered blood work. And that's when the answer appeared. Not in her brain, but in her bloodstream. Her vitamin B12 level was barely detectable. Within 3 months of treatment, Clara's memory returned, her mood stabilized, and her energy came back. The problem wasn't dementia at all. It was a severe vitamin B12 deficiency, one that had silently drained her focus and clarity for years. Stories like Clara's are far more common than most people realize. Doctors now call B12 deficiency the great imitator because it mimics so many neurological diseases: Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, depression, even multiple sclerosis. But it's one of the few causes of cognitive decline that can be completely reversed if caught early. So how does it happen? Vitamin B12 is like the spark plug of your nervous system. Every thought, movement, and memory relies on electrical signals between neurons, and B12 maintains the insulation around those neurons, called the myelin sheath. Without that coating, communication between brain cells slows down, just like frayed electrical wires that can't carry a full current. That's when you start feeling brain fog, forgetfulness, tingling in the hands or feet, or a sense of imbalance. But the symptoms don't stop there. B12 also supports red blood cell production, which carries oxygen throughout your body and brain. When levels drop, less oxygen reaches your tissues. You may feel tired, short of breath, or lightheaded, even after rest. On top of that, B12 helps regulate a compound called homocysteine. When B12 is low, homocysteine builds up and becomes toxic to brain cells, damaging blood vessels and accelerating mental decline. This combination, nerve damage, oxygen loss, and homocysteine buildup, creates the perfect illusion of dementia. And yet, the fix can be as simple as replacing what's missing. So why does this deficiency happen in the first place? The answer lies in your stomach. When you eat foods like eggs, fish, or chicken, vitamin B12 is bound tightly to protein. To absorb it, your stomach must release acid and a special protein called intrinsic factor. Together, they free B12 and carry it through your intestines for absorption. But as we age, stomach acid and intrinsic factor naturally decline, a condition called atrophic gastritis. Add common medications like acid blockers or metformin, and absorption drops even further. That means you could eat a perfectly healthy diet and still become deficient. Vegetarians and vegans are especially vulnerable, since most plant foods lack B12 entirely. Even people who eat meat several times a week may struggle if their digestive system isn't working efficiently. That's why researchers estimate that up to 25% of adults over 60 have some degree of deficiency, most without realizing it. And the scary part? It can take years before symptoms appear. At first, it's subtle, a little fatigue, some forgetfulness, tingling in your fingertips. Then, gradually, the signs spread. Difficulty concentrating or remembering names, feeling unsteady when walking, numbness in the hands or feet, mood swings, anxiety, or low motivation, pale skin or brittle nails from reduced red blood cells. These are all clues that your brain and nerves aren't getting enough B12. Unfortunately, most people, and even some doctors, dismiss these symptoms as normal aging. In 2019, researchers at Oxford University studied older adults who complained of mild memory loss. They discovered that those with low B12 and high homocysteine had significantly more brain shrinkage on MRI scans. But after 6 months of B12, B6, and folate supplements, the shrinkage slowed by 43%. Another landmark study in neurology found that seniors with healthy B12 levels performed better on memory and language tests, and were far less likely to be misdiagnosed with dementia. In other words, B12 doesn't just protect your brain, it helps preserve the physical structure of your mind. So how do you find out if you're deficient? The simplest step is a blood test. But not just any test. You need both serum B12 and methylmalonic acid, MMA. Standard tests can miss deficiencies because they measure total B12, not how much your cells can actually use. MMA shows whether your body is processing it correctly. Here's a little-known fact. Many labs still consider 200 to 250 picograms per milliliter normal. Yet neurologists now recommend levels above 500 for optimal cognitive health. Anything below 400 can still cause symptoms, even if the report says within range. If your doctor says your level is fine, ask for the number. Don't settle for normal. So, what can you do if your levels are low? If it's mild, daily supplements often work wonders. Ideally 1,000 micrograms of methylcobalamin, the active form your body can absorb directly. For people with absorption issues, sublingual tablets that dissolve under the tongue bypass the digestive tract entirely. For more severe cases, doctors prescribe injections, weekly at first, then monthly. This restores levels quickly and directly feeds your nervous system. Patients often notice the difference in just weeks. Energy rises, mood stabilizes, thoughts feel sharper, sleep becomes more refreshing. It's as if someone lifted a fog that had settled over the mind. Let's talk about prevention, because that's where you take control. Start by eating foods naturally rich in B12. The best sources include salmon, sardines, tuna, eggs, yogurt, and lean beef. For plant-based diets, look for fortified nutritional yeast or plant milks. Next, support your digestion. Eat slowly. Chew thoroughly. Limit constant acid-suppressing medication unless absolutely necessary, and include probiotic foods like kefir or sauerkraut to promote a healthy gut environment. Then, pair your B12 intake with folate and vitamin B6. Together, these 3 vitamins work in harmony to lower homocysteine and improve mental clarity. That's why many high-quality B-complex supplements include all 3 in balanced doses. Finally, manage lifestyle factors that drain nutrients. Excessive alcohol, smoking, and chronic stress all deplete B vitamins faster than your body can replace them. Let's revisit the emotional side for a moment. Imagine being told you have early dementia, only to find out months later that your brain was perfectly fine. It was just starved for one simple vitamin. The relief is overwhelming. Families who've experienced this call it getting their loved one back. They describe moments when personality, laughter, and focus suddenly return after years of confusion. That's the power of awareness. And it's why doctors are urging older adults to check nutrient levels before accepting any cognitive diagnosis. Now, let's dive a little deeper into how B12 protects your mind on a microscopic level. Inside your brain, billions of neurons communicate by sending tiny electrical impulses. Each signal crosses a gap called a synapse. And B12 plays a crucial role in synthesizing the neurotransmitters that make those connections possible, like dopamine, serotonin, and acetylcholine. When B12 runs low, neurotransmitter production falters. You may feel irritable, anxious, or depressed, not realizing the cause isn't emotional, but nutritional. Meanwhile, low B12 impairs your brain's ability to detoxify waste, allowing toxins and free radicals to accumulate. Over time, that inflammation accelerates cognitive decline. But restore B12, and you reverse the process. Neurons rebuild their myelin. Communication improves. Inflammation decreases. Memory, mood, and focus all rise together. That's not magic. That's biochemistry. Let's look again at Clara's story. After 3 months of regular injections and diet changes, she no longer repeated herself. Her handwriting steadied. She started volunteering again at her library, organizing books by memory instead of sticky notes. Her doctor told her something she'll never forget. Your brain isn't broken. It was just underfed. That's what so many people need to hear, that forgetfulness doesn't always mean failure. Sometimes it's just the body's way of whispering, I'm missing something. So here's what I want you to remember from this video. If you're over 50 and you've noticed fatigue, forgetfulness, tingling, or low mood, don't ignore it. Don't assume it's aging. And don't panic about dementia until you've checked your B12. Ask your doctor for a full panel, including methylmalonic acid and homocysteine. Aim to keep your levels above 500. Add B12-rich foods to your daily meals. Take a high-quality methylcobalamin supplement if needed. Combine it with folate and B6 for extra protection. And if you're already on medications that affect stomach acid or diabetes drugs like metformin, check your levels at least once a year. Because here's the truth. Your brain is not doomed to decline. It's built to repair itself when you give it the right tools. And sometimes that repair starts not with a new drug or therapy, but with something as simple as a single vitamin. If this message helped you, hit the like button right now so more people can see it. Subscribe and turn on notifications, because next week we'll cover another hidden cause of fatigue and focus problems that doctors are finally beginning to understand. And share this video with someone who's been worrying about their memory. You might give them something even more powerful than advice. You might give them hope. Because health after 50 isn't about chasing youth. It's about giving your body what it needs to keep thriving, thinking, and remembering every day. So take a breath, write a note to get your B12 checked, and remind yourself of one simple truth. Your mind is still yours. It just might need a little nourishment to shine again. You've got this.